I remember the day in April 2007 I finally confided to my therapist that I was struggling with drugs and alcohol. What I didn't mention at the time is that I also struggled with both exercise and traditional bulimia and had for over 2 decades. The former is obsessive compulsive exercise for the primary purpose of offsetting calories. The latter is binging and purging. I felt completely stigmatized and alone in my eating disorder and didn't feel that anyone, including him, could understand or help. Adding to the stigma was my profession. Not only was I a male with an eating disorder, but I was a male lawyer with an eating disorder. Why do males struggling with eating disorders in the legal profession seem to be so few and far between? We can look to a recent study of mental health issues in law school published by the Journal of Legal Education, which found that 27% of law students, breaking down to 18% of male respondents and 34% of female, screened positive for eating disorders, yet only 3% of the respondents had actually been diagnosed. I believe one reason for this reluctance to see treatment, compounding on top of the strong societal stigma, is the culture in the legal profession, the fear of showing weakness and vulnerability. Here's the catch. This type of vulnerability is something that is absolutely necessary in mental health recovery, particularly eating disorder recovery. It may involve opening up that well of emotions that may date back over a lifetime that are holding you back from getting better. Not a pleasant thought, is it? Very counterintuitive to the projection of knowledge, competency, and strength in the profession. It's easier to simply say, I'm over that, compartmentalize it and move on, emotionally isolate from the world. But they often have not moved on, and those feelings are often just under the surface waiting to trigger destructive behaviors or playing a role in not dealing with the ones already present. The stress of billing, the stress of trial, the stress of grades, problems at home, childhood trauma. The list of possible triggers is endless. I totally get it. Binging and purging was a huge stress release for me in both law school and as a practicing lawyer. The same was true of my obsessive compulsive exercise, which is probably my biggest trigger issue today. I'm here to tell you that allowing myself to be vulnerable and letting those feelings out was a key in my long-term eating disorder recovery, which now stands at over 12 years. Those feelings that dated back to childhood no longer control me. I even write letters to my teenage self. I talk to my inner child. Doesn't sound very manly or lawyer-like, does it? It doesn't mean telling everyone your childhood secrets. It means realizing that being vulnerable and facing such feelings is both beneficial and necessary moving forward in recovery. Find a safe therapeutic setting. Give it a try. One of the deadliest symptoms of eating disorders is silence.